It's time for Around the Ozarks Sports Scene, brought to you by Fast Break Sports, the largest selection of cards and card supplies in Southwest Missouri. Now here's your host, Scott Puryear.
Welcome in to another edition of Around the Ozarks Sports Scene. I am Scott Puryear. As always, appreciate you tuning in to the podcast this week. We're going to talk a little high school sports. It's about 2 weeks away from the high school football opener, and our guest with us today is the head coach of the Nixa Eagles, primed for another big year, Coach John Perry. Coach, thanks for joining me.
Well, thank you for the invite. I appreciate you and glad to be here.
You bet. And I know early August, all you guys get a little more excited than you've been. I mean, you've had them in the summer for 20 days of practice, but it's go time now for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of like a little kid at Christmas time. Like, this is what we love to do, and, you can practice all summer long and do things like that, but, nothing's like being able to go out there and compete versus another team and, to see where you're at and then to work on getting better every single day. Like, it's really, really fun, and, it's just as a high school sports fan, it's one of the best times of the year.
Well, it brought you on for a couple of reasons. Number one, because, you've kind of transformed Nixa football into an event down there, getting ready to start your fifth season, and Friday nights are a big night for the city. I want to talk about that a little bit. But then also, I think, again, this year, Nixa goes into the season, at least from an Ozarks standpoint, as the team with the target on their back. I mean, you've got your offensive line back led by Jackson Cantwell. You've got skill people back. You got a bright young quarterback in Adam McKnight starting his sophomore year, a defense that's ready to go again. Your thoughts on the Eagles going into the season as the team to beat?
I don't know. I mean, I think Nick Saban would call that rat poison, right? Like, what a team did last year, or, they based that off of last year and what you got coming back. Like, nobody really knows. Like, nobody can, you can throw a prediction out there, but this team has done absolutely nothing in 2024. So, that's really just, I guess, for fans to look at it, people to talk about, but, we don't really pay no attention to that.
Well, you had such a great run as a head coach in the state of Mississippi. Last 12 years at Pearl, Mississippi, 107-48, state champs in 2017 after finishing second in 16. When you made the transition here 5 years ago to Nixa, what did you see in the Nixa program and what needed to change? I mean, this was a good program, but it wasn't a great program. And what were some of the things that you wanted to address immediately, and you feel like you've done a good job of getting in that direction, like I said, to turn this into a community-wide event on Friday nights in Nixa?
Well, I don't know. I think that's a group effort, from our school system to our superintendent to our principals, our admin, and athletics. All of those have been a huge part in making Friday night such an event here in Nixa. When I came in, I just wanted to be a small part of trying to help them, move a little bit further down the road, and with all the coaches that were here, when you sit down and you talk to all of them, one of the first things that they said was toughness, our kids aren't tough enough, our kids aren't this, and, that's what we went to work on, like we have what we think are extremely tough kids that go out there and compete. Now, we've also got some great athletes. Like, you can't win football games without players. I mean, it's all about the players. And just because I got lucky and moved here about the same time we had some really good football players, it's just, I guess that's the work of the good Lord. There's nothing you can do about that when you have Spencer Wards and Jackson Cantwells and kids like that. That's just luck.
Well, 4 years here, 38-9 record, state quarterfinal appearance last year, lost to Rockhurst in the playoffs. When you look at it at its core, what's the difference between Mississippi high school football and Missouri and Southwest Missouri high school football?
I don't know. I think the emphasis put on it in the South is there's more put on high school football. Like, there's just, everybody has their kids in the school day, within the school day. I think there's more of an emphasis put on it. And, then just team speed in general, maybe more team speed as a whole. But, at the end of the day, football's football. Football is a game of fundamentals. Can you block, tackle? Can you hang on to the football? Can you take the football away? I'd put our football teams that we have here with any of them that I've been a part of. I think we're really, really good. We're different, in some ways, but, we are a good football program, and there's lots of great football programs in this area. Webb City can play with anybody, in the state of Mississippi. Carthage can play with anybody, in the state of Mississippi. So, there are some differences, but I think it goes back to just the day, the coaches, have more time to plan. There's more emphasis put on athletics in the school day in the majority of the schools in the South, I think.
In what ways have you evolved in your approach to games here now in Southwest Missouri? I mean, 4 years, have you seen things that you need to do more of? I noticed in some of the preseason stories done about, with that offensive line and looking back at the Rockhurst game, you said you need to run the football more. Is that something that you've kind of evolved into in your mind that, hey, these are the things we can win with here in the Ozarks?
Well, I think since I've been here, if you go back and look over the last 4 years, in the final polls, we've been somewhere around 4, 5, 6, 7. We've been somewhere in that range. I think we do have to do some things differently to win a state championship. And one of those is we've got to be able to run the football. You got to be able to run the football every Friday night. You can't go out there one Friday night and, not be able to do that. And, you go back to the Rockhurst game, and I think that's a great example of 2 years ago, it was Lee Summit North. That night, they ran the football better than we ran the football in a night that was drizzling rain. And in the playoffs, you're going to run into a night where it's cold or it's raining. Mm-hmm. You got to be able to run the football, and you got to be able to stop the run. So that's kind of been an emphasis of us this offseason, is to make sure that we can do that. And the other thing is, Rockhurst played about 17 players, and we played 22, right? They played 4 or 5 guys both ways. So I think another thing we have to do is a better job of preparing some of our better players to be able to play both ways if they have to. If it's a state championship game and we're up, 2 points and we kick off, do we really want Jackson Cantwell standing on the sideline by us if we got to go out and get a stop to win the state championship? Well, anybody can answer that. Like, no, we don't need to be over there by us, okay? So we need to do a better job of coaching our kids throughout the year. I don't want to play guys both ways unless we have to. But at the end of the day, I think that is one of the things we need to do to get a little better for ourselves.
Does that mean we could see Jackson Cantwell trot out there at defensive end some more times this year too?
Well, I mean, it's very possible. We want him to learn how to play the position so that if we don't want him to go out there and play, defensive line on a regular basis. But like I said, if the ball game's on the line, and they have to, get into field goal range to kick field goal, well, obviously we'd like to have him at 6'8", rushing the quarterback, with a wingspan like he has. It makes sense, but I don't think you can just slap him out there in the ball game if he don't know what he's doing. So that's on me and our coaches to make sure he has the confidence to do that whenever that time comes. And the same thing goes for, Randy Flint, who plays corner, being able to come over and play some offense when we need him to, because he's an extremely explosive player. And I think that was one of the differences last year between us and Rockhurst.
Now, it probably doesn't take a Rhodes Scholar to figure out that if you average 6'4" and 285, 290 on offensive line, maybe you should run the ball a bit more when you got Dylan Rivera back there in the backfield. So that's a pretty good strategy going into this year, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we want to be able to run the football when we want to run the football. We're obviously still going to throw it. We're going to be multifaceted on offense and keep doing what we're doing. At quarterback, we're going to be more athletic, as you well know. I mean, we have not had the most athletic of quarterbacks, and, Adam's going to change that ball game, from all 11 players being able to chase Dylan Rivera. Somebody's going to have to stay home and take care of Adam. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's going to be a game changer for us as well.
Well, and Adam's got Wyatt Vincent out there, and his probably, 4.4, 4.5 speed, and and Kevon Flint. So, I mean, you've got weapons in the passing game too.
We do. We got some guys that can run, that can catch, and we're excited about the group we have, and they're great kids on top of that. Like they've had the best summer we've had since I've been here, as far as showing up, practicing hard, having a great attitude, being about their teammates. I mean, all that has been super.
You mentioned Adam McKnight, and of course, sophomore year, played some varsity in other spots for you last year. Kind of a cup of coffee to get his feet wet there. But is he? I mean, he's 6'4" probably, and what 180, 185 pounds. Is he a kid that those college teams that are looking at Jackson Cantwell are going to notice on film pretty quickly this year too?
I would think so, just because at the Division I level, number one is measurables. He's at least 6'4". He's about, I think yesterday he weighed in at like 196.
Wow.
So he's got the measurables that they want. So that's check number one. But then number two is he is athletic. You can just look through, the season that he had in basketball, the season that he had in baseball. Like, I think, I hope that that's a sign of what is to come. Now, we go out there week one versus Republic. There'll be, 5,000 people there, and it'll be his first high school football game at quarterback. We shall see. I expect that he's going to be a really, really, really good football player for Nixa High School for several years.
Well, the way he goes to the boards in basketball to try to rebound as a freshman indicates he's probably not going to back down from trying to get third and two as a quarterback, right?
He is not scared. Like, we are actually talking about that on a daily basis.
Yeah.
It's time for today's Lucky Land horoscope with Victoria Cash.
Life's gotten mundane, so shake up the daily routine and be adventurous with a trip to Lucky Land. You know what they say, your chance to win starts with a spin. So go to LuckyLandSlots.com to play over 100 social casino-style games for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. Get lucky today at LuckyLandSlots.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.
That offensive line, we talk a lot about Jackson Cantwell, and rightfully so. He's the number one offensive line recruit in the country for the 2026 class. Jacob Lyle, Hayden Mays, these other guys, they've been playing together now. Is this as good a line as you've had at any school since you've been coaching?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, first of all, we've never had a Jackson Cantwell, okay? And then, we have had some really good high school football players, but, when you put that whole group out there with, Jacob Lyles is good at high school football, offensive lineman as I've coached. Hayden Mays is coming into his own right now, big kid, extremely athletic. Oakley at center, is a 300-pounder, 400-pound bench press guy, 600-pound squat guy. And then the runt of the group right now is Hunter Jensen, who's probably 6'2", 6'3", about 250, which is a pretty good size runt. Like, that group is really good. Their feet are really good. Coach Medley's done a fantastic job of, working with those guys, and just with the objective of trying to get a little bit better every single day, and we still got a long ways to go. When you're big, sometimes, that practice wears on you, right? And so we've had to stay on them about continuing to try to play harder every single snap, but it should be a really good group.
What was daily life like for you this past school year with the Jackson Cantwell sweepstakes? And just a sophomore, they technically couldn't talk to him, but everybody and their brother was trying to get in to see you and get by the school. Was it, now that he's narrowed it down to a list of 14, has that calmed down a little bit, or what will this year be like for you and for him?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think there'll be any shortage of folks that come through. I mean, obviously they have their timetables when they can come in, when they can't come out. Last spring was interesting because there was a lot of them that came through, but they were first class. They always called before they came in. They didn't catch you off guard. Like, they scheduled it where he didn't have to get out of class all the time, and that kind of thing. So it was really well. I mean, that went really well, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. I mean, even though he's narrowed it down a little bit, they don't really care that he narrowed it down. They're going to keep pursuing him until he decides, where he is going to go. But I think he's handled it really well. Like, he has grown and matured through the process and through the spring. Like I watched him, be able to communicate with coaches so much better, at the end and at the beginning. And, and that's because he's done it a lot, like he has met a lot of folks and he's grown a lot, and he is a mature 16-year-old for sure.
Well, he's just a unicorn in so many ways. Not only 6'8", 300, and just turned 16 in May, but as you mentioned, the maturity level. I mean, a lot of kids may not be able to handle all this attention and all the calls and texts and everything else, and he's just different, isn't he?
He is, and I think that's in large part a credit to his family, because with a kid like Jackson, they could be an issue, but they're not an issue. Like, they put Nixa first. They could go somewhere every single weekend. They could stay gone at a Division I school somewhere in the country, but they make sure he don't miss practice. They make sure he don't miss time here. Like, they put Nixa first in this process, and that's a credit to them. I mean, he's 16 years old. He's taking his lead from his parents. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of got to be hats off to them for a lot of that.
Are the smart recruiters mentioning track and field when they talk to you as well? That because they know, what he's doing in that arena as well.
Yeah, and he's open with them that he wants to do it.
Yeah.
In the spring, so I don't think anybody has an issue with him doing that because, obviously he's going to be the number one player in America. So what are they going to tell him? No, he can't do it. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to say that. Now, Some of them will probably be more supportive than others when it gets down to time to go to track. But he understands that. His folks understand that. They're taking that into consideration, I'm sure.
I think the most intriguing thing about this kid, and I've said it over and over, is 15 years from now, we don't know what level he'll be doing at what sport and what he'll achieve. I mean, he could be a 2 or 3-time gold medalist in the shot put in the Olympics, or he could be a 15-year NFL left tackle. I mean, is that kind of the exciting part about this? I mean, this is kind of a once-in-a-lifetime kid?
Sure, and like you said, I have no idea what he's going to be doing, 15 years from now, but I suspect about 5 years from now he's going to be playing left tackle in the NFL and probably be really good at it. And like you said, he could, at some point in time chase the Olympic thing too. Like, he is super talented and, he works hard and, he's going to have a bright future no matter what he chooses.
Well, it's a brand new era in high school football in the Ozarks now with the new look COC. I mean, it's basically the SEC of high school football in our area. Looking at your schedule, it's just crazy. There are no bye weeks, meaning that there are no bye weeks, period, but there's not anybody you can look past in this new league with the likes of Kickapoo and Glendale, Lebanon, and Waynesville coming in. You open up with Republic in the opener on August 30th. Those two games have probably been the best game of the year the last 2 years locally. Talk about the SEC and what the schedule SEC. I said it myself. What the COC looks like now with this new look.
It's going to be a challenge. I mean, there are. If you look at our schedule, I mean, whoever pulled that schedule, didn't really do us a favor. We're going to start off with, what's been one of the best games we've had each year, as Republic. Ryan does a fantastic job over there. Like they are. Really good. Obviously played for a state championship last year. But then we go on the road to Webb. We go on the road to Carthage, who is, has got a ton of folks coming back. We squeaked by them last year. And Webb City's better and better and better. So, we've got some really, really good football teams that we got to play. Lebanon, is rock solid, as you well know, and has been for years. Coach Christian does a fantastic job there. So, that's going to be a challenge, but that's awesome. I'm glad that it got a little bit tougher because, that's also a complaint when you are given a 9-game schedule. You don't get to choose to play anybody else. You have to play who's on the schedule, and I have felt like in the past couple of years that's hurt us a little bit come playoff time because the level of competition when you jump up into, Kansas City, it does jump up quite a bit, and I felt like that has been a little bit of an issue. So I think being able to play several of those really tough games back-to-back should really help us out.
Well, and there's just so many emotional games here. I mean, you talk about that trip to Lebanon, and probably the first time Will Christian, a Nixa boy, has got to coach against his alma mater that I can remember. And then you got Kickapoo coming in, another Nixa guy, Nate Thomas, and that's a game I'm sure that, you jamboree with them, but none of you show anything in that against each other. This will be the first Nixa Kickapoo game in a long time, if maybe ever. I'm not sure the last time they played in football. And it's going to be fun getting them up every week because you won't have to do much, will you?
No, you won't have to do much. And those guys are fantastic guys, and they would tell you that the Nixa game is just going to be another game. But, I can tell you as someone who has, coached at a school that went back and played his home school, you do have that one circled up. Like, them two guys got that one circled, I can assure you. Like, that will mean a lot to them. But, at the end of the day, we're just trying to be the very best we can be the next day and play the best football game that we can play, regardless of who the coach is, regardless of who the team is. We got to be us and not worry about that.
Talked a lot about your offense, but you guys will actually field a defense too this year, right?
Yeah, we're gonna put some defensive guys on the field, and they've been really, really good through the summer and getting ready into fall camp. We're pretty athletic. We move well. We run to the ball well. I love where we're at right now defensively. I think we're going to be much improved.
Got some experienced guys back there in the back. I know Parker Mann's been a really good one for you. Love watching the way he hits and as aggressive as he is. I think he's moving to safety this year. Is that right?
Parker's going to move back to safety, and he is as good a high school football player as there is. He's kind of the heartbeat of the defense. And, we were a little bit concerned last year with our corners because they were both new and they were both young, but now they are rock solid. We got 3 corners for 2 positions that we feel like can go out there and play against anybody in the state. We got a couple of inside linebackers back, a couple of D linemen back. We feel really good about the guys that we have and the effort that they're playing with and their attitude. We're excited about that side of the ball.
McCoy Sullivan, Flint, the other Flint, back there, right? Those are the guys back in the secondary.
Yeah, you got McCoy Sullivan at corner. You got Randy Flint, who both started last year. They are fantastic, but you also have Braden Parks, who is coming on, and he's right there with them. All 3 of them will play. They'll probably rotate those 3, some form or fashion, but they are fantastic. And, when you go out there and play some man coverage at the corner position, you allow your safeties to get much more involved in the run game.
Yeah, I think Parker Mann last year reminded me of a kid that probably would play at Webb City. Just the old.
No doubt about it.
Yeah,
no doubt about it.
That hard nose, knock you in the dirt and get after it type kid there too.
No doubt about it. He would fit in well over there. I'm just glad that he goes to school here.
New indoor facility under construction in Nixa. I'm sure you're excited about that. What will that allow you to do year-round with Nixa football and really for the whole school in general?
Well, it's going to allow us more turf fields. We have one turf field that, right now we have to kind of finagle, with soccer and with band. And, band ends up practicing at 6 o'clock in the morning, which, I guess they have to right now to be able to get out on the turf. So it's just going to open up more opportunities. It's going to be, absolutely fabulous. I'm sitting here right now watching them move dirt, so it's going to be really, really large. I think it's going to be, one of a kind in our area. And, it's just going to add value to what we do. It's going to add value to a lot of other sports as well and other activities within our school district.
Any chance there'll be an indoor shot put ring in there?
I can assure you there'll be a spot to throw the shot put there. I think there's going to be a couple of lanes of a track around the football field as well so that, you can train indoors with that as well. So I think, it looks really good. Just, we're a little ways out from seeing it come to fruition, but it's exciting to see the trucks moving.
Very good. Well, the opener's August 30th for all the Ozarks teams. Should be a great opening week of football. Nixon's got Republic coming in a marquee matchup. John Perry, thanks for your time. Best of luck to you this fall.
Man, thank you very much. Thank you for having me. You do a fantastic job.
Appreciate that. That's going to do it for another edition of Around the Ozarks Sports Scene. Big thanks to you for listening, and special thanks to Fast Break Sports, our sponsor. Get out and see the guys over there at your home for all things sports collectibles, cards, supplies. They've got it at Fast Break Sports. We'll We'll see you next week on Around the Ozarks Sports.
Hey guys, it is Ryan. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm a bit of a fun fanatic when I can. I like to work, but I like fun too. And now I can tell you about my favorite place to have fun, Chumba Casino. They have hundreds of social casino style games to choose from with new games released each week. You can play for free and each day brings a new chance to collect daily bonuses. So join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.